do I wish they understood about me and my work? Um, that's a good question. Yeah, I think I wish they understood about me. Um, what I will say is this. It is my book is you get to see the story unfold, but one of the things that I'm realizing in this kind of phase of, I guess, promoting the book, it's been out about 3 months now.
Mhm.
What I see, because I'm actually reading it with my daughter right now. She's 6, and she's been so excited to like see the book on the shelf and stuff. So I'm kind of like either playing the audiobook for her that I narrate or reading from the book to like, because I read to her all the time. Um, and what I'm seeing though is a person who went from being very like timid and insecure and not knowing what he was worthy of to
Mm.
now having not like knowing it.
Mhm.
And it feels so good to be in like I never want to be in my teens or 20s again. Like I love my 30s. I'm having a blast. So to be the person that I couldn't imagine being like and being very free and unburdened by the negative self-talk and a lot of that stuff um is pretty great.
Hello, hello, everyone. This is Unfiltered Conversations with your host, Michael Yearby, and I'm here with a special guest. He is a therapist, storyteller, and the author of the Mixtape, a Memoir, a powerful new book that uses music, memory, and brutal honesty to explore race, trauma, identity, and healing. What struck me about his work so much is that he doesn't just talk about survival, he talks about what it takes to rewrite the story you were handed. I have a special guest, and with this special guest, I want you to lock in, get ready, because we're going to be talking about something that is crazy. So, Johnzelle, Mr. Anderson, please, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me, Michael.
N-
It's good to be here.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, in your book, you signed your books with peace and joy. What do those two words really mean to you, especially in this season of your life?
Yeah. uh Someone told me a couple years ago that I guess they heard it at church or something, but I guess the pastor had said if it costs you your peace it's too expensive.
Ooh.
And you know peace and joy. Peace means rest from whatever could plague you. I live with an anxiety disorder, so obviously my system is always seeking peace. But joy is another word that I pursue because people get caught up on, oh, I want to be happy. Happy is
Mm,
a fleeting kind of temporary thing, but joy is something that you could have even when you're not feeling happy.
mm,
And so peace and joy are lifelong things to pursue. And I would even add to that freedom, because if you have peace and joy, you have a sense of freedom. And those mean a lot to me in this era of my life. I'm getting ready to turn 34. And I've been through a lot, as you mentioned with the book.
mm.
I have a good 2/3 of my life left, so I'm moving into those seasons with peace and joy, and I'm you know pretty unapologetic about snipping out anything that is gonna impede on those things.
Yeah, and just to confirm, when you say, basically, your peace, and we talk about peace because, especially a lot of times in this day and age, I hear a lot of young men talking about, like, especially it's get brought up in a relationship kind of aspect where people are like, hey, I want to make sure I get with a woman that is gonna be my peace or protects my peace, and it's like, what is your thought when it comes to not just talking about relationships but just about protecting your peace in this environment, like what does that even look like for you?
Yeah. Uh, I prickle a little bit at a person saying that they want their significant other to be their piece, because that
Mhm.
puts the responsibility externally.
Yeah.
And a human being will disappoint you every time because that's not their job. And that's coming from me being a therapist, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
But protecting your peace and your joy are things that are cultivated within.
Uh-huh.
Things on the outside can either enhance or take from, but an external um, source can't be your peace because that doesn't
Mm.
belong to you. Another human
Ooh.
doesn't belong to you. So
Yeah.
I'm a little iffy on someone saying like, "Oh, she's my piece or he's my piece." Okay, they're going to disappoint you, and then you're going to,
Yeah.
blame them when it
Yeah.
wasn't their responsibility to be your piece in the first place. But protecting it means knowing that, you know, you're worthy of like rest and peace and joy.
Uh-huh.
When I say worthy of, it means that it's not earned, it's just innate, it's part of being human.
Ooh. Yes.
uh and you know, there's a difference between being worthy of something and being entitled to.
Uh,
Like, in my book, the thesis is that every human craves connection because we're wired that way, and connection is found in love, like, and understanding, and it's
mhm,
reciprocated
mhm.
internally, externally, and then receiving.
Yeah.
But you're not entitled for a person to love, like, and understand you.
Yeah.
They don't have to, but you're worthy of love, like, and understanding because you're human, because we're social beings, right?
Yeah.
But entitled means that they must. And that's what I mean with that whole someone is my peace thing. It's like you feel like it's their job to keep you peaceful, and that's it. It's not sustainable. So,
Yeah.
but protecting your peace, absolutely. Be be diligent about that. There's so many things in this world that are competing for your peace, for your attention, like the smartphone, the TV, the internet, the drama between people, the economy, like everything is trying to get a piece of you.
Mhm.
Not pun intended, but peace is making your own decisions rather than the decisions making themselves for you.
No, no, you're right. That actually kind of leads me something deeper on how you describe, not just peace and joy, but yourself. You call yourself a therapist storyteller. When does w- I would say, when does that stop feeling like two separate identities and start feeling like just overall who you are?
They're they're not really two separate identities. I think of it as like a hybrid.
Oh, okay.
When I put it in my bio, I just separate it by a line. It says
Uh-huh.
therapist storyteller because it's when I'm a therapist, I'm telling stories. When clients come to me in therapy, they're telling me stories. And I happen to write stories. I happen to tell stories, right? So it's a cycle. And
Mm,
I'm also a bibliotherapist, which means I use books to facilitate therapy. I am also a narrative therapist. So we use our stories and we revise or uh, reframe our stories. So they kind of go hand in hand. What is everything that we do but a set of stories? Whether it's, if you're a musician, you're telling stories. You're a podcaster, you're sharing stories and experiencing them. So to be human is to be a story. So therapists and storyteller really do complement each other. I say it's like a hybrid between the two.
what's up? So when you became a therapist, what training and stuff did you have to go to become a licensed therapist?
So the training to become a therapist, you probably have to, I mean, you have to have a bachelor's degree to get into grad school.
Mhm.
I got a master's in professional counseling. In the state of Virginia, after you get the master's degree, you need to do a 2-year clinical residency where you're working under supervision. And then after that, you take the exam. And when you pass the exam and you've completed your residency hours, then you can be independently licensed. Um, and at the time of this recording, uh, I've been a therapist over 10 years,
Wow.
licensed since 2019.
Okay.
And I've been in private practice ever since I've been licensed. So, yeah, it's not a quick journey to become a
Yeah.
therapist, but yeah, basically grad school, residency, and then whatever states you want to be licensed in, keeping up with their requirements. So,
Yeah, and I want to say thank you for your service because my sister-in-law, she's actually a therapist as well, and just
mhm,
exactly what you said she went through. And me and her talk, I just like ask her like, man, how is it? Because right now she's in Okinawa, in
mhm.
Japan. She's a therapist for the military. She works predominantly for the Army, some Marines, and some Air Force, but she does therapy there, sessions with them. And she said something very interesting about being a therapist is that usually we go through all this schooling, go through all these sessions and everything. And she said a therapist will stay in their career field maybe 5 to 6 years, 10 at the most. And so
Mm,
it's like pretty crazy. I was like, for real? She's like, yeah. She's like, because it's so much that we have to deal with. So I just want
yeah.
to, give you your flowers and
Yeah,
thank you
I
for
didn't
being in
hear
the career
about
field.
that turnaround.
Yeah.
But I in this particular day and age, I can understand. It's they're coming like people come to us for support, but then we're humans too, and sometimes I'm just like I don't know the answer because I'm over here fighting for my life too. It's but I think having a safe space to land is still essential in this
Yeah.
world. So
No, 100%, 100%. So I just wanted to give you your flowers.
thank you.
And just so as we get back to the book, you know, now that that mixtape is out, in the world and people are, I'll say, like digesting it. What are the most meaningful parts of publishing that content for readers to, I guess, to interact with that you like?
Like I'm an avid reader. I clear over 100 books every year,
Wow.
finished books. And it's one thing to read someone else's story and spend time with them. It's another thing for you to have created your own, and it's not a quick journey.
Mm,
Shoot, it took roughly like 3 years from the time I started writing to the time it was published. Um, and to have it be the best I could get it to be, and it to be in the world and to let the process do what it does, obviously work really hard to promote and stuff like that. What's really cool is how other people are feeling and connecting with various things that I put in there because you can't, as a writer, intend or know what is going to land with people and what's going to stand out.
mm,
Um, but it's been really cool to see what various people find intriguing or what resonates with them.
mhm,
Um, and it it does something for my own personal journey that by doing the work and the healing of writing the story that it is helping somebody else on their journey. So of course I would rather not have gone through all the trauma, neglect, abuse and whatnot that I had
mhm.
to, work through, that I was able to come up with something entertaining and meaningful and unique for someone to spend some time with is, I'm definitely very grateful for that.
Heck yeah. And as you talk about that, understanding more of the nuances and everything that you've been through and why you put it in your book and it kind of lands that way, I want to kind of go back a little bit. In 2019, you had an essay. You said childhood made you a natural people watcher, and I
Mm,
really, really resonated with that because I do that all the time. Like I go somewhere and I don't necessarily have to have a conversation with people. I just sit there
yeah.
and just chill and just watch. I don't
Mhm.
really, so what was that young version of yourself learning about the world that you happen to, be a part of?
Yeah. There's something probably innate, um, like, it could be personality, like, some people do, some people watch, some people, are a mixture of the 2.
Mhm.
I notice that what people say is not always, in sync with what they do,
Ooh, I
um,
like that.
and I think the hardest part about being human for me is that someone can say to your face one thing and then behave in the opposite. But then will die on the hill and be like, but I said I'm sorry. You're not behaving like you're sorry because you're going to do it again, right?
Yeah.
And so watching people, what did DMX say? He says, talk is cheap, MF. I don't know if I can cuss on here. So
Oh, yeah, go
uh, talk is cheap, motherfucker. Like, and when he said that, I was like, you know what? What people say really doesn't matter as much as what they do. Someone could say they love you. Someone could say they're sorry. Someone could say, I got you, my bad, whatever it may be. That's cute. But what are you going to do about it? A lot of people can be aware that something needs to be done or that they've done something wrong and they can say what it is. And they're like, oh, I'm aware. I have awareness. Okay, cute. Awareness is only half of the battle, though.
Yeah.
You got to do something with that awareness. And a lot of people don't do that. That's the behavior part. So people watching is interesting. I think it helps me too as a therapist because when people come in, they talk. Sometimes I'm working with couples or families or something like that, and they'll say something, or someone will be sitting silent, but you see their body language, and it's like, okay, so what you didn't say out loud, but what you said with your body was this. And being a
Mm,
people watcher, and people are like, you
wow.
saw that, or that and it's like it's right there.
Yeah.
So being a people watcher, it gives you information, and I think some of that unfortunately was sharpened by being in environments that I had to be vigilant,
Yeah.
but the cool thing about being a therapist and storyteller is that I am now skilled at not revising history because no one likes a revisionist historian, but I'm able to take the sharp parts of a story and find a way to direct them to something that is beneficial, whether it be writing a book, whether it be
Yeah.
supporting a person in therapy, whether it be cracking a joke, uh, and yeah, that gives me hope. So people watching is just fun too, because you may not even speak to a person, but you can know a lot about them based on how they act. Um,
100%.
and
100%. And that's
and if
what I
I
like
have
to do.
time, I'll let somebody know about themselves. They'll be like, "Oh, blah, 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 blah." I'll be like, "Okay, your insecurity is really hanging out right now, and it's not because I'm a therapist, but miss me with that." And they're like, "Oh, no, 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 it's okay, it's okay. Me telling the truth will make you uncomfortable, so you got
Oh,
it."
oh,
Right.
I do that a lot as well. Like I don't do the therapist part. Like I'll sit there, like especially when I'm becoming part of a new organization, I'm very
Hmm.
quiet. I just don't really necessarily jump in right away. I like
Mm,
to sit back, watch my environment, see who the players, and the shakers
mm,
and trying to understand who they are, their personalities a lot better before I kinda really, really interact with them and
mm.
let them tell the story versus them tell me, who they are, versus how they, interact with other people, and so
Yeah.
it helps me out a lot, so yeah. And I love that. I love that about you. You got that observer, and it's like a breaking point for your own, like, I almost like protection, right? Um
Mm,
but I want to ask you, like, you said plenty of times, especially in different podcasts, you said you were heading towards elementary education to try to teach children, right? And then in
yeah.
college, kind of brought those panic attacks, that depression, and that total
Mhm.
like reroute. What did I will say that situation reveal that you probably that was different than your original plan?
Yeah. From a young age, there was a hope in me that education would be a vehicle to overcome what I
Mhm.
was dealing with at home.
Yeah,
And so because I loved school so much, even though it wasn't always like the best, but I loved being away from my home
yeah.
at school. Um, it just seemed like, oh, be in school as an adult too, like teach other people that, and it seemed stable. It seemed like, even at a young age, I'm like, okay, I want to do something to make someone like me feel seen or whatever, right?
Mhm.
And then I of course got to the internships and I was like, nah, I'm not doing this. But the question again, give me the gist of
Oh,
the question again.
so basically, I was just asking, like, you basically you was heading towards education. You
Mhm.
rerouted through to some situations that you was dealing with in college, and it's like, how did that plan of action change you in that process? What did it reveal about you from trying to be an educator to now doing what you're doing? Is it the
Mhm.
same? Was it different? Or
Yeah, it felt like a big pivot at the time, but
uh-huh.
in hindsight, it's just a different, manifestation maybe,
Mm,
because in a way, being a therapist is being an educator. In a way, telling stories is a way to inform. Not the same as being a classroom teacher by far. I mean, mad props to those who do that because clearly could not be me.
uh,
But it at the time it felt drastic, but it was similar in that, like, okay, I wanted to be a teacher because going to school was really important to me. But then at the time that I decided to go to grad school to become a therapist, I had just experienced therapy for the first time. And I was like, oh, if this helps me, it could help somebody else. So why not? So I I guess it's that there's an instinct that I was learning to trust. Like if something is good enough for me, it could be something worth pursuing. So
mm,
that's kinda how that was for me at the time, and
yeah.
I'm glad I made that pivot for sure.
Yeah. You know, I do have a like an off-brand question because the internet's been buzzing about it for a good couple of weeks, and I had
Okay.
multiple conversations with my sister-in-law about it. Dr. Janelle Bryan, I think that's her name, right?
Mm.
She says she's a clinician, a
I think it
licensed
might be
therapist.
Cheyenne or
Yeah,
something.
Cheyenne Bryan.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
Cheyenne Bryan. My apologies. As you see,
Mhm.
I don't be on the internet like that. So,
I don't either, but it came
yeah.
across my desk on that one, yeah.
Yeah, all on the timeline. And my sister-in-law, she was like, she was talking about it. And I was like, how did that make you feel? And she was telling me, and I was like, oh man. I said, is that serious? She's like, yeah. And so I wanted to ask another licensed therapist, like, how does that, with that situation, like she's not showing any of her clinical records. People have come
Mhm,
out and said that, the people that spoke with her said she was terrible, and they wished they would have known of
mm,
her license status.
mhm.
As do you think that messes up your not it doesn't mess up, but do you think it destroys the legit? I mean, it's like so many fronts. It's like, and I'm trying to pose a question with it because it's like,
You're asking
you know,
how does it impact the field of work?
well,
Uh,
yeah, but also as a, she's in the Black community. It's been
mm.
a real push for the last 5, 6 years, maybe even longer, about Black people seeking mental health. Really, like, does this push us back in any type of way? Like, I guess that's
Yeah,
my question.
that's a great question. There are things that can be acquired from experience. Like, you don't have to have a Master of Fine Arts to be an author. I
Uh-huh.
don't have a Master of Fine Arts. I wrote a book, right?
Mm,
I'm not classically trained as a storyteller, right? Being writing a book, though it's important, telling stories is very important. It's not life or death.
mhm,
Mental health is life or death sometimes.
yeah,
Um, I don't want someone performing brain surgery on me who just says that they're a brain surgeon. I want them to have gone through a residency and to have practiced on, before they get, you know, to toying around with my brain, right?
yeah,
Um, so the thing about my field, I could say,
yeah,
is I'm licensed in 3 states, okay? And
yeah,
I have to do continuing education, I have to save my certificates, I have to submit payment to renew my license and all this stuff. If anyone and I have to in my physical office, you have to conspicuously, like, have your documents available should someone wanna file a complaint, or something like that. Like, there's protocols, there's ethics behind it. Um, and I paid $168,000, and I know that very specifically because
yeah.
I'm almost done paying them student loans off.
Heck yeah.
Um, uh, this fall they'll be all paid off. But to have gone through all of that, and I'm not worried about somebody else being out here making money or whatever, because she could have just said she was a life coach. Life
Mm,
coaching doesn't have any governing force. No shade to people who are life coaches. I took a few electives and it wasn't my cup of tea. But a therapist, calling yourself a doctor when you don't have a doctorate. When I say all of this stuff to say I have to display my stuff, like if you want to hire me as a therapist, you can find my license in Maryland, Virginia, and Georgia. You can find, you can find information about me and know how to hold me accountable if I do something wrong.
mhm,
So to be practicing and saying that you're something that you're not, if somebody wanted to be like, "Well, do you have a master's degree?" Yes. You want to see my transcripts? It's not hard for me to furnish it for you. If okay, I don't know the thing about the school going out of business or what that ain't got nothing to do. If it was legit and if you had a doctorate,
hmm,
you would have evidence to support that. So when it comes to, you said in the past 5 years, like Black people going to therapy, it has been great as a therapist to be available to answer that call.
mhm,
A lot of my referrals come from someone typing into Google Black male therapist near me, right?
mhm.
But I would say to anybody listening, people could be deceived. There's going to be frauds in any sort of industry, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
But it is on it's like almost like consumer beware. Like do your research. And people say that all the time. Oh, I did my research or whatever. And maybe she's done a lot of interviews. Maybe she's built a thing for herself, whatever. But don't say you're something that you're not.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could be a life coach. You could be you could say you have this expertise or you've helped all these. Okay, cool. Gained by experience. I'm an author because I've written for years and whatever. But when it comes to someone's mental health, you have to be accountable to something if something goes wrong. It's more serious than just saying that you are. Because also too, getting a doctorate is not easy. I have no interest in getting a PhD. Um, but those who do that work and write dissertations and things like that, it's not so much gatekeeping as it is like the privileges that come with being at that level of expertise is not something that if everybody could do it, then everyone would be a doctor. So I'm not mad at somebody saying they're a life coach or getting clients that way, but don't say you're a therapist. Don't say you're practicing mental health and stuff like that when you don't have any credentials to do that. So
No, I feel
that's
you. I
my
feel you.
2 cents on that. But I ain't worried about it.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it impacting what I do
Yeah.
because I am licensed. But it probably does impact people's trust, but not to blame the people who are deceived. But before you participate in or consume a product or a service, you should know what you're getting yourself into. Now, if
Mm,
she was actually a trained therapist, she would have paperwork that gave informed consent
mm.
and explained what it was. But I doubt if she's not a real therapist or a doctor, then she probably didn't have that stuff. It would also create a paper trail if you were doing that. So,
Oh, you're right.
well, good luck to that lady, I guess. I don't know. She's
What did
standing 10 toes down on it.
Hey, yes, she is. Yes, she is. Oh my goodness. And I kind of don't want to get into the social media mess, to be honest.
Mhm,
So I like kind of stay out of it. But it was just hitting my timeline so hard, and
mhm,
maybe I was like, "Geez, Louise!" Like, and my algorithm is like everywhere. So it's
mhm,
like when I get like a rash of certain type of videos, I'm like, "Man,
mhm.
am I watching something?"
Yeah,
Like,
what's going
am I
on?
supposed to? Like, usually my stuff is like, food videos, so
Mhm.
watching, so, yeah, but yeah. So I do have a question, like, what did Lauryn Hill give you that adults around you weren't able, or wasn't willing to give you?
It would have been really cool if I was in my home office right now because over my shoulder, it I have a painting of the album cover of the Miseducation.
Speaking of Lauryn Hill? Oh, yeah,
Yeah, I love that album. It's my favorite album.
yeah,
Um, and I even I mean, a few of the songs made it into the mixtape that the book is based around. But then even the section titles, I paid homage to the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill because it's like homeroom, miseducation, unlearning, and graduation are the sections.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen Lauryn Hill in concert twice. The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill is timeless in that it doesn't matter where you're at in life, it can hit different based on what era of life you're in, what you're going through, what season it is, kind of thing. It doesn't get old. That's how the lady has been touring with the same album for like 30 years.
Yeah.
Um, and, uh, before I knew how important that would be for me, like, I just remember seeing, like, she was one of my like inspirations for getting locks. And
Mm,
she in her art form, she showed being thinking you knew everything but you didn't kind of
yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
and being honest about it. And showing it in a way that is genuine to you. And even as a person, she's gone through her own evolution as a mother, as a spouse, as a business person, as a creative, and doing it on her own terms. And I don't know. I have a lot of appreciation, and yeah, she's definitely. Despite only having really two albums, I count the Unplugged album as one of them. But she's definitely in my top five. If I could only pick five artists to listen to, she would be on there because it's that good.
So I'm trying to find in one of her skits.
Hmm.
Um, it was in is the classroom skit, right? And
Hmm.
I remember the teacher was asking about love, if
Hmm.
I'm not mistaken.
He spells it
And,
on the board. Yeah,
and then the young man spoke about it, and the young girl was speaking about it, and she is like, about how they love so hard and deep.
hmm,
And I thought that, like, in your writing, you kind of, conceptualize that a lot about
mm,
loving deeply. What
yeah.
is your philosophy when it comes to intimacy and having those feelings and being and using that, I guess, to express yourself in a world where a lot of times if you're vulnerable, you're seen as weak, versus someone who kind of closes himself in and protects everything they have and
Yeah.
then, kind of be like an asshole in some ways.
Yeah. Hmm. Thank you. Great question. I've
Yeah.
done a lot of interviews and I've never been asked that one. So thank you.
Mhm.
Um, you know, and we're both black men, so I'll speak to that in particular. Black men are given a lot of conditioning, and when it comes to things like love, or vulnerability or emotional intelligence, in a simplistic way, that those are not tough things to consider, right?
Mhm.
When you see Johnzelle and Mixtape and Memoir, like in the different eras, I'm a human being who isn't being shown love, like, and understanding at home,
Mm.
but I'm a human being who is worthy of those things, right? So I'm seeking it and I'm able to provide it to the best of my ability, but I don't know to balance it with receiving it, right? I don't know how to internalize love, like, and understanding, so things go wrong, right? Uh, Unreciprocated situations happen. It becomes unsustainable, and I get my little heart stepped on a lot. So you know, love in, let's say, as I'm approaching 34 in my 30s has become very much about reciprocity.
Mm.
I you know, uh, Here shortly, my divorce will be finalized, and I'm actually cool on that.
Yeah.
It was an era, and it is what it is. But I'm in another relationship. It's been a little over 3 months now, but in how I've approached dating and relationships post marriage, I very much learned. And I'm trying to live the importance of, like, a relationship is not a vehicle to control somebody.
Mm.
Um, everybody got to have free will up in here anyway, because I know when you say forever, as in being married, it may not necessarily go that way.
Yeah.
But it's not a means to control. It's a more a vehicle to be loved, liked, and understood in a reciprocal capacity.
Mhm.
I put reciprocity, in X Factor, the way Lauren says reciprocity is, it
Yep.
gives me chills every time.
Yeah.
She was really going through it. Um, but no, reciprocity is so important. That's what I know about love that I didn't know all of these other parts of my life. Like I wrote a whole book about how I was seeking connection, but they were always unreciprocated. And then when they crash and burn, I was crushed. But I
Yeah.
gave more than other people. So love is not exhaustion. Love is not uh complete sacrifice without reciprocity.
Yeah.
And a lot of times our narratives about love are that, they
Uh,
say, oh, stay together for the kids. Love is work. Love is sacrifice. Sometimes you gotta uh take one for the love is a choice. The
Yes.
commitment is choosing each other daily and handle me with care, or we might need to renegotiate this arrangement.
Uh,
And I think that aligns very well with what we talked about earlier, the peace, joy, and freedom.
yeah.
The person you're with is not going to be your peace and joy, but they can enhance and help you fortify that.
Mhm.
But you got to have it within in order to give it and receive it and whatnot. So I'm still learning. I'm only, like I said, I'm 33 going on 34. I don't have love or life or everything all figured out.
Yeah.
But I know more than I did before. So
And see, and that's all, we run the
neither
race
did Lauren.
over.
Lauren didn't have it
Yeah.
all figured out in the miseducation either.
No, she didn't. No, she didn't. But she was willing to explore. And almost
Mhm,
like what you did where, like how you talk about being a leader.
mhm,
And what I mean by a leader, I'm talking about like a person who teaches in the form of like you're telling stories to learn, to explore concepts and different things that might be very difficult to unearth because they're
mhm,
so complex. Especially like one thing you say when you talking about like worldviews and especially having faith and truth, you said
mhm.
kind of like human beings or humans are like bio, psycho, social,
Biopsychosocial
spiritual,
spiritual.
yeah, beings, yeah.
That's from
Would
grad school.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
It's one of
expound
the
upon
things
that.
I kept. Most of that stuff I tossed out, but they were
Yeah,
onto something with that
yeah, yeah.
conceptualization for
So
sure.
what does that mean? What does that mean to you?
It means being holistic.
Mm,
Okay, we started this by saying, okay, Johnzelle's a therapist and a storyteller. Okay, my alter ego, I joke, I say, my alter ego is a comedian, a DJ, a part-time assassin, a librarian, etc. Um, Johnzelle can't fit into one box, and that's okay,
yeah.
right? um, because we're constantly evolving.
Uh-huh.
There's always a software update to be had, right?
Um, mhm.
And that's a good thing because no one is using the iPhone 1 now. Like you keep evolving. Um, and that's okay. It's still getting the thing done, but it can do a little bit more. You're a little bit more efficient than you were before. And I really lean into that when it comes to being a therapist, or even in writing my stories. You can't do one approach to things. If I only focused on like someone's physical health as a therapist, like, oh, how much sleep did you get? How much exercise are you getting? What did you eat? And I don't ask them about their social relationships or about if they have their financial resources to sustain themselves, or if they have their hope anchored in something. Like I'm missing a lot of parts of a person. So being holistic means there's not one direct path to living. Um, it's it's dynamic. So
Mm.
just like we're complex, so is our path to understanding and healing. It's complex, but those four areas, physical, emotional, social, and spiritual, are a good starting point for sure.
Heck yeah. You did say you're an avid reader, and
Hmm.
being such an avid reader, because I do not read as much as you do. Like you read, like you said, 100 books a year.
I did
I'm
115 last year.
Jeez, Louise, I barely get through 12. Uh,
That's good though. Once a
yeah,
month, one book a month.
yeah,
That's better
yeah.
than
That
the average.
yeah. Oh, it is.
They say the average is 4 books, and it's probably because of people like me bringing up the average
Okay.
for the rest of them. Because I know a lot of people don't read at all, and to each his own. But 12 a year is more than the average for sure.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
hooray.
a book a month. That's honorable.
Yeah. So I notice for me when I read, I learn a lot, right? I don't
Hmm.
retain as much as I should, but I introduce a lot more to my understanding, my vocabulary, to my perspective, my viewpoint. As a avid reader like yourself, reading 100 plus books, what does that do to you as you see well, not even just as you see, as you listen to their writings, and then you imagine what they're talking about, probably what they're going through, past, present,
Hmm.
or past, present, their writings, right? And then you look through it through your lens. I guess what's the overall thing that you are seeking or that you are receiving when you're reading?
First of all, I damn near exclusively read books by and about Black people these days.
Okay.
I think I started that distinction in was this 2025? I think it was around 2024, early 2024,
Okay.
because I was writing my Black story, right? And what I realized was it's an uphill battle because we don't get the same support
Yeah.
and marketing and but Black people, we've always been they'll take our rhythm, but they don't want our blues kind of thing.
Yeah.
So in writing my own story, I was like, okay, knowing what it's like for a Black storyteller, I want to support as many as I can because I love
Mhm.
to read. And then um, but in reading, it is feeding that because you've read my book, so like I was a mixed race Black kid raised in whiteness, so my access to my culture with my West African father not being around, right, and
Right.
racism and with my white caregivers, right. Books are a vehicle to experience culture. It is a way to be loved, liked, and understood in a way that I may not be able to ever meet Taraji P. Henson or Jennifer Lewis or Whoopi Goldberg, but I can read their memoirs and spend time with them and know what made
Mm,
them, right?
yeah.
Um, and but also with novels like I've been well, it's Pride Month now, so I'm reading a lot of queer narratives, but I'm also writing a queer novel,
Oh,
and so being a representation, or even with Mixtape, I wrote my book in a way that I hadn't seen before, but also being a mixed race Black person telling that story of being raised in whiteness is not something you see a lot. So I
mm,
wanted to give my effort to that because there are people like me who grew up like me, or
yeah.
who need that. And in particular with my novel that I'm working on, I want to write a bisexual romance kind of novel because I don't, especially with Black people, it's going to
Yeah.
be Black people in this book, but like you could find it with white people, but
Yeah.
I'm sick of, white guys with sandy blonde hair and piercing blue eyes. That's not for me. So if there's a story you want to read that you can't find, you got to write it yourself. So
100%.
that's
My wife,
that's why I
my
love
wife,
reading.
yeah, my wife used to, she used to read smut. It's
Hmm.
that's the
Oh, I
genre,
love a
right?
smut
Yeah,
situation. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, so she was all about it. So she used to tell me about. I'm like, I do not want to hear this. I do
Hmm.
not. I do not want to.
Yeah. Reap the benefits of her reading that smut though. Hey, whatever gets you reading.
That is true. That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. My last question to you is What is something you wish more people understood about you and your work that I didn't ask about?
Do I wish they understood about me and my work? Good question. I think I wish they understood about me. What I will say is this. It is my book is you get to see the story unfold, but one of the things that I'm realizing in this kind of phase of, I guess, promoting the book, it's been out about 3 months now.
Mhm.
What I see, because I'm actually reading it with my daughter right now. She's 6,
Yeah.
and she's been so excited to like see the book on the shelf and stuff. So I'm kind of like either playing the audiobook for her that I narrate or reading from the book to like, because I read to her all the time. And what I'm seeing though is a person who went from being very like timid and insecure and not knowing what he was worthy of to now
Uh,
having like knowing it.
mhm.
And it feels so good to be in like I never want to be in my teens or 20s again. Like I love my 30s. I'm having a blast. So to be the person that I couldn't imagine being like and being very free and unburdened by the negative self-talk and a lot of that stuff um is pretty great. And this story is that unfolding of that becoming, which is pretty cool. So even though I wrote it and I obviously have revised it and done all this stuff, sharing it takes on a life of its own. Like
Yeah.
even obviously my daughter is not getting the full brunt or understanding of what is, and thank goodness she doesn't have to go through a lot of the stuff that I went through.
Yeah.
But her experience of it, or she'll hear me say something about SpongeBob in the audiobook or something. And she's like, oh, SpongeBob and Squidward and all of this. And it's like she's connecting with something that was meaningful to me at that time. So seeing who I was and who I've become and being who I am looking back, it's very rewarding. So I guess to answer the question of uh this is the book that I didn't know I needed when I wrote it.
Ooh,
Because
like that.
I wouldn't have known that as I'm sitting at my desk last summer getting ready to send this off to the publisher, that I was going to be blindsided with the separation.
Mm.
I was the last to know. So, but I have a whole book that I wrote about unreciprocated relationships and betrayal and all this other stuff. So, um, I have proof that I have what it takes to make it through stuff. So, yeah, it's been a very rewarding experience. And speaking of therapy, writing a memoir was definitely like therapy on steroids. So,
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Well, please, the floor is yours. Tell us how we can support you, what website we can go to, social media networks or connections that you have that we can support you on all fronts.
yeah. Well, first of all, Michael, thank you for having me here. I've really enjoyed this conversation. My spiel about where to find me is very simple. Okay. My name is spelled Johnzelle, Johnz like zebra, ELLE. Okay. Johnzelle.co, John like zebra, ELLE.co is where you can find the book. It is available anywhere you buy books online, but if you go to johnzelle.co, the links are there. You can get it at Bookshop, Barnes& and Noble, Amazon, etc. The links are on my website. It is available as an audiobook, which I narrate. Those links are also available on my website. It is available in hardcover and paperback and ebook as well. So all the formats it's available. So that's where you find the book. You can also see editorial reviews and blurbs and stuff like that. Learn a little bit more about the book there. Um, so social media, Instagram at Johnzelle underscore, so Johnz like zebra, ELLE. And if you have interesting name, you got to spell it like that because people will mess it up. So johnzelle.co and at Johnzelle underscore on Instagram.
Mhm.
So those are the two places you can find the book and me. On Instagram, I am constantly, just because I read so many books, I like to do book reviews of the Black
Ooh.
books that I read. So you could check out the books that I'm reading and my reviews there. You can see what I'm reading my daughter, see cute pictures of her, keep up with what I'm doing to promote Mixtape and Memoir, but also, when I have other things cooking up. So I have like 4 other books that I'm working on
Wow.
right now. So at different stages,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but I it has become a great like place to connect with the Black literary community and readers. So um,
Yes.
I've enjoyed it. So go join me over on Instagram.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here. For being honest, open, thoughtful, and a deeply, deeply wonderful human being. Really appreciate the way you came, and just, man, you kind of owned your space, which I expect nothing less, right? And you talked about the complexity of being a human, and then in the same breath, talked about the nuance and gratefulness of joy and peace. So,
Mm.
thank you for your time. Thank you for your work. And thank you for this connection.
Thank you for having me. Y'all
No
take care.
problem. Yeah, take care. Peace, guys.